These days, it seems like every other person is struggling. It's so the thing to do to tell your friends that you're skeptical of something or that you just can't see something that your parents or your church is asking you to do. Or maybe you're feeling kind of lost and you don't know how to process life. And let's face it, if you tell your friends you're really struggling, you're a whole lot more likely to get a lot of hugs and sympathy and chocolate bars than if you tell them that you love God and you're really enjoying His Word. And hey, a lot of that's okay. I want to be there for my friends. I want to be one of the first to go and support them when they're feeling lost and when they really are hurting. I want to be there and support them. But let's not fool ourselves. This is not the way it always was. The cult of self-victimization is pretty trendy. The cult tells us that we're all victims of something, that someone or something out there is hijacking our story and making us unable to do what we want to do, that someone is messing up our story in some unfathomable way. And the best we can do is complain and maybe get counseling. There we go. Think about it. How many people do you know who seem stuck in bitterness over something that someone did to them way back and just can't seem to break free and live a new life? Or think about all the people you know who seem like they're stuck over some simple thing that their parents or their church wants them to do and they can't understand it, they can't get it. It's an epidemic. And I think the main idea behind this is that I'm the big deal. And someone else and someone or something out there is getting in the way of my success and my ability to be who I know I'm supposed to be. They're in the way. They're the problem that makes it so I can't get free of my bitterness or lust or anger. I can't be who I'm supposed to be because of their problem. All right. By the way, to those of you who've experienced emotional or sexual abuse and have been devastated by it, I'm sorry. I really don't understand what that's like, and I don't pretend that I do. Don't try to ignore your painful past. Work through it, cry through it, and pray through it, and do it in a gospel-centered way that keeps you and your story underneath Christ and His beautiful ways of forgiveness and love and honor. But even for many of us youth who've not been awfully abused, we still walk around in continual I'm struggling mode, and I think that's tragic. You do not have to continually be defeated by bitterness or anger or lust because someone hasn't treated you the way you think they should have. You can overcome. I see a better path forward for us Christian youth of today. We can be that sign pointing forward to a better way of living that really leaves all the other ways behind. And that's found in the gospel. To me, the good news of the Bible is everything. Living what people call the Christian life is not so much about the things that we do, but it's about a person and how that person came as a servant into the world. That person, Jesus, who said He was life Himself. And He brought hope and life into deadness, the deadness of this world. And that fact of who Jesus was is what changes everything about the way I live. But centrally, everything is about Jesus, that person. As Jesus came bringing His new life in Himself to us, He solved our basic human problem, which was we had rebelled against Him, rebelled against His goodness, and tried to set up our own goodness instead. And He showed us a new way. Jesus said, with the utter simplicity that only the ultimate doctor could have, whoever refuses to give up his family and even himself, he can't be with me and do what I do. And then He said, sell all your possessions, give it to the poor people, and come be with me and do what I do. And he also said, if you try to keep yourself for you, you'll lose it. But if you let go of yourself for me, you'll find your life. When people who are bound to their own ideas about the way they think life should be really get in touch with this crazy gospel and accept what it says about giving up everything for the sake of knowing Him who is ultimate goodness and beauty in life, their world completely changes. We have this wild tendency to try to hang on to our own ways of doing life, even though we know that we've perennially failed at running our lives better than God. The good news of Jesus is this: give it up for the sake of knowing Christ.
Guys, you don't have to live as though you are all that matters. God is the center of everything. You don't have to live as though anyone who messes with the lifestyle of the incredible you is some sort of monster. You've got to stop blaming everyone else for your struggles. Take responsibility for your failures. Forgive those people whose failures have hurt you, and move on to love and know God. The gospel is our hope. When we keep Jesus and His ways supreme in our lives, when we let go of ourselves to embrace this gospel, we can conquer the particular problems of our generation. We're not going to be lost in self-victimization because we're not trying to hang on to our lives. We're going to know that all that matters is that we know Christ. We won't live in I'm struggling mode. We'll live in victory.